At the beginning of the episode, we see San scolding Mook, just like in the last episode when they all locked Pow in the room because he attacked Gus. But Mook freed him, and after that, Pow killed Gus and went outside to attract the zombies. Now the zombies are chasing the survivors, and many students have already been killed. Here, Fu stops San and says that blaming Mook won't bring the dead back. Suddenly, Mook realizes that Ning and Jean are missing. Nan tells him they are together, so they should be safe. At the same time, the sound of the zombies grows louder, and the rain gets heavier. Now San becomes the leader and orders everyone to follow his instructions from now on. Next, we move to Jean and Ning. Ning tells him that she found a Japanese article about the immortality of jellyfish, which explained that jellyfish get infected by a parasite called myxozoa. When the parasite infects a jellyfish, the jellyfish starts attacking other marine species, and sometimes even its own kind. Jean becomes curious about which jellyfish the professor used to make the serum, but Ning has no idea because she was removed from the project. Then Ning realizes that the professor must have used infected jellyfish in the serum. She now wants to go to the professor's office because there is a safe there that might contain something important. Jean and Ning leave the lab, but outside, someone who was already infected suddenly jerks awake. Earlier, after becoming infected, he shot himself, but now it looks like he has come back as a zombie. With this, a new chapter begins, titled Descendant. Now we see Professor Weiroj sitting beside Ning's mother, holding her hand and crying as he waits for her to regain consciousness. It's clear that he has a strong emotional attachment to her. The scene then shifts to Mook and Prow. Prow comforts Mook, telling her that none of this was her fault and that San scolded her for no reason. She also hints that she knows a secret about San and tells Mook she should use it at the right time. The scene then switches to San, who enters the canteen in panic and starts taking his medicine. He begins having terrifying flashbacks, the murder of the girl in the lab, killing the zombie, and the deaths of his friends. Nan arrives and tries to calm him down. Now we see a memory. San and his friends were leaving a party after drinking. San said goodbye to everyone and walked towards his car. Because he was heavily drunk, he could barely stand, and Nan tried to stop him from driving. But San refused to listen. In the end, Nan also sat in the car with him. Suddenly, San began to cry as if he felt guilty for something he couldn't do. We will learn later what that guilt was and what he failed to do. Their car later stopped outside Nan's house. We see San lying in the back seat because Nan had called a driver to drive the car safely. Nan told the driver to drop San home safely and then got out of the car. Upstairs, Ning is seen looking out of the window, watching him come home late. This is the same night when Ning was doing research on jellyfish. Now we return to the present, where Thi calls Thorn and the others to check the zombie footage. During this time, San wants to tell Nan something about his mother, but Thorn arrives to call them, so San stays quiet. Everyone gathers and watches the footage together. They see that the team leader is Anti-Jit, but no one understands why. They also see Nan letting out a painful roar, probably because he watched his friend Fa get bitten right in front of him. Now they start observing the zombies' behavior and planning their next move. Meanwhile, Ning tries unsuccessfully to open the safe. At the same time, Jean finds a photo in the documents and shows it to Ning. The picture shocks them. It's Ning's mother holding baby Nan, and Nan's date of birth is written on the back of the photo. Why is this picture in the professor's documents? For now, it's a mystery. Jean suggests trying Nan's birth date as the locker password. Ning finds it strange. Why would the professor choose her brother's birthday? But even more shocking is that when Ning enters Nan's birth date, the safe actually unlocks. Ning is stunned. On the survivor's side, Mook focuses on something else. When Nan was bitten, the zombie who bit him was the same one that cried afterward. This suggests that zombies might act like an extended family and have emotional bonds. The same bond was seen earlier between Jane and Nick when they got injured at the start of the series. Based on this observation, they realize that Anti-Jit might be the great-grandparent of all these zombies. It's possible that another zombie infected her, but San also points out that she could have been directly infected. Now the scene shifts to the professor. After Ning's mother still doesn't regain consciousness, he loses hope and removes her oxygen mask. He then goes to the terrace and steps onto a chair, staring at burning buildings in the distance. The professor appears ready to jump, suicide out of frustration and guilt. But just before he can jump, the doorbell rings, followed by loud banging. This catches his attention. The scene then cuts back to Ning, who is exploring the safe's documents with John. John finds several forms that turn out to be volunteer profiles for the serum project. The consent letters mention anti-aging testing. Ning feels terrible after reading them, wondering how the professor could be so cruel, deceiving innocent people and using legal contracts as a cover. Jean also finds a pen drive. What secrets it holds, we will find out as the story continues. We return to the survivors, where Mook argues that killing Auntie Jit would mean killing the zombie's parent, something that could be highly risky. Jean and Ning are just leaving the faculty when, suddenly, at the sight of a horrifying scene, grabs Ning from behind and her diary falls from her hand. Through the glass door, we see a person who has now become a full zombie. He is eating Pao's dead body and becomes alert to their presence. John and Ning hide behind the cabins. Jean tells Ning to go outside, pick up a gun, and shoot the zombie while he distracts it. Ning goes out to grab the gun, and Jean moves to the glass door to draw the zombie's attention. The zombie doesn't notice Jean. Instead, seeing Ning with the gun, it runs toward her. Jean immediately opens the door, grabs the zombie, and tells Ning to shoot. Summoning her courage, Ning fires and kills it. Afterwards, Ning takes Jean back to the lab and cleans the blood splatters on his face with sanitizer. They then decide to explore the pen drive. Now we see the professor recording a confession video in which he intends to reveal the full truth about the Anisong project. Meanwhile, the survivors discuss that if they want to capture Auntie Jit, everyone will need to be in the janitor's room of the science faculty because she comes there routinely. Rather than kill her, they plan to capture her alive and use her as a hostage. Elsewhere, we watch Knight collect a serum made from castor beans that contains ricin, a highly dangerous poison. Knight wants to inject this substance into the zombies and needs a gun to do it. When Win hears Knight's plan, he leaves and returns with a fire extinguisher can, a better option for spreading the toxic substance among the zombies. Now we see Lily. After eating magic mushrooms, she appears calm, though she is tied to a chair. Sun and his entire team perform an anthem in front of Lily to try to awaken the real Lily. Lily seems to enjoy it, but when Knight and Win come inside, they notice many zombies pressed against the windows trying to get in. The two quiet everyone, but then, surprisingly, Lily begins to sing the anthem herself, which draws the zombies' attention even more. Sun decides he will go outside and act as bait to distract the zombies. Everyone tries to stop him, but he goes anyway. Now we see a flashback from 1 month ago. Ning checks her mother's blood pressure and heartbeat, both of which are very high. Ning tells her mother that she needs to consult a good doctor, but her mother avoids the topic. Ning suspects that her mother has cancer because the condition is constantly getting worse, but her mother denies it and says it isn't cancer. Here, Ning's mother is clearly hiding the truth. Nan brings porridge for their mother. Ning gets angry and leaves for the lab. Nan sits beside his mother and feeds her porridge while remembering their childhood. In the present, we see Ning and Jane watching the professor's video from the pen drive. The professor explains when and how the Anisong project began. In the year 2002, Viroj and Kanjana were colleagues. Suddenly, Kanjana was accused of corruption and removed from her job. But the truth was that Viroj and Kanjana were in a romantic relationship, and the office staff found out. The new management filed a case against Kanjana. You might wonder what was wrong with their relationship. The issue was that Viroj was married, and Kanjana was also a mother. Because of this, Kanjana had to face backlash. But things were even more complicated. Kanjana was pregnant at that time, so she could not go to jail. Because of this, she had to leave the country and leave her little daughter Ning behind. She returned after 3 years when the company had forgotten her case and no longer intended to prosecute her. And now she also had a son, Nan. A mother of 2, Kanjana worked as a waitress in a restaurant to support herself and her children. Because she could no longer work anywhere as a scientist, she had to hide her past. Life continued like this. When Ning grew older, Kanjana realized that her children deserved a better life and education. At that moment, the doorbell rang. Kanjana asked Nan to open it. When he looked outside, no one was there, only an envelope. He took it inside and gave it to Ning. It was a scholarship letter from Patron. But it wasn't good news because it stated that the submitted documents were incomplete, even though they had submitted everything correctly. The next day, when Kanjana went to take an order from a customer, she was shocked Phao, her old friend, was sitting there. They saw each other after 15 years. Phao told Kanjana that his boss wanted to meet her and offer her a job. Curious, Kanjana asked who his boss was. Phao pointed to the TV, where Patron was giving scholarships. After work, Kanjana sat in Phao's van when a phone call came. Patron himself offered her a position in the Anisong project, with a huge income that would secure her children's future. But the project had to remain a secret. No one could know about it. This means that Ning's scholarship was stopped on purpose so that Patron could contact Kanjana. In the present, Ning is shocked after hearing all this.
แม่กูคือใครอ่ะ
Jean tries to comfort her and suggests that they should explore more to understand what exactly the Anisong project is. John shows Ning a diary containing notes written in Kanjana's handwriting, including information about preserving human cells after death. Jean explains to Ning that to learn more, they must watch the entire video, so Ning plays it. Now we see the past again, where Viroj and Kanjana are talking. Kanjana explains the project. Patron wants his body to remain preserved even after death. Patron is a highly respected man whom people consider a savior. He wants to transfer all his wealth to his only son, Joe, who is very spoiled. Patron's only wish is to create a drug that will preserve his body after death. Kanjana's serum was fully prepared, but only if that night had not happened. One night, Dr. Aam, a member of the research team, was working in the laboratory when suddenly Joe arrived with his friends, including San. Joe began harassing Dr. Aam, and in self-defense, she picked up a syringe lying nearby and stabbed Joe with it. Enraged, Joe picked up a toolbox and brutally beat Dr. Aam to death. San tried, but could not save her. Then Kanjana arrived and saw everything. This confirms that San's trauma comes from this incident, which is why he often has panic attacks. Kanjana realized that the Anisong serum was not fully complete yet, and the injection Dr. Aam used on Joe was an incomplete version. After that, Joe's condition started getting worse each day. His friends were silenced because they were also involved in the murder. Since Dr. Aam was an orphan and a brilliant doctor, her body was made to disappear. Patron then told Dr. Kanjana to shut down the Anisong project and instead create a cure for Joe's illness. Feeling guilty over Dr. Aam's death, Kanjana decided to test the serum on herself and injected it into her own body. While working on the cure, her health continued to deteriorate day by day. Realizing she did not have much time left, she offered Professor Viroj as her replacement to continue the cure project. Then Kanjana went to Viroj with the photo and Nan's birth date, the same picture Jean later found in Viroj's file. From their conversation, it becomes clear that Nan is Viroj's son. Kanjana entrusted both the project and her children's responsibility to Professor Viroj and then tied herself to the hospital bed. Later, Ning was brought into the project. But during the process, she was removed. And after that, Viroj used jellyfish in the serum. When the serum was ready, he gathered a group of volunteers to test it and injected them. Unfortunately, the serum contained infected jellyfish. When the volunteers' health began to worsen, Viroj continued his research and separated infected and non-infected jellyfish to create a corrected serum. In the present, Ning and Jean finish watching Professor Viroj's full confession video. In the end, the professor declares that Ning has nothing to do with this and takes full blame on himself. Ning becomes furious and smashes the computer. On the other side, the survivors are seen planning the best route and method to reach the janitor room. During this, a fight also breaks out between San and Thorn, and on top of that, Prow keeps provoking San and suggests changing the group leader, recommending Pooh instead. Then they finalize one route and start preparing to move forward with the plan. Meanwhile, in the lab, Ning and Jane take out the cure serum, which belongs to Joe, but Kanjana's is missing because Viroj had already injected it into her earlier. The survivors group pick up their weapons and move ahead, and Earth will lead them on the way.
เดี๋ยวเอิร์ธจะเป็นคนนำมันรู้ทัน
As soon as they are standing there is a loud knock on the door, so Earth immediately locks it. Now, under Plan B, they choose the auditorium route, which San will lead them through. On the other hand, Ning and John collect all the information, the serum, and the pen drive, and start leaving the lab so that they can use all of this to ask for help from the authorities. Before leaving, John lovingly says goodbye to the dead body of his brother Pao and walks away. Meanwhile, the survivors group is seen moving forward very cautiously. Here, they use green and red clothes as signals. Looking at Lily's side, Knight, along with his friends, prepares a toxic substance for the zombies. Then Toto and Game also join them, and everyone gets ready to go on the mission. Now we see the past. A few days after the serum was injected, symptoms began increasing in the volunteers. Just as the survivors studied, high temperature had caused a high aggressive effect. Here we see that the volunteers, affected by intense heat, started to collapse. When people came to check on them or talk to them, they saw that a blood-filled bump on the volunteers' lower back exploded, and they turned into strange, ferocious zombies and started biting the people near them. In this way, the chaos started from those 10 volunteers and spread throughout the university, which dragged countless students and staff members into it. And now the final chapter of the Zomvivor series begins, the chapter known as The Chosen One. Now we return to the present, where we see Win looking at the selfies he took with Lily on his phone and remembering the time he spent with her. At the same moment, there is a loud bang on the door.
You're in.
So Win and Nakia quickly hide. Lily sees them running away from close by. They sit down in fear, and then the gardener zombie opens the door and comes inside, followed by the rest of the zombies. They untie Lily, and as soon as she stands up, she shows affection toward the gardener zombie. Since Lily turned into a zombie after being bitten by the gardener zombie, an emotional bond can be seen between them. Then Lily looks around the garden toward the place where Win and Nokia are hiding. But instead of moving toward them, Lily joins the zombies and walks ahead with them. It seems as if Lily saved Win and Nakia from the zombies by going with them herself. Win and Nakia decide that they should move from there too. But as soon as they walk toward the door, someone enters holding a shovel. Seeing him, they say, "Son?" But the scene cuts right there, and we don't know whether Sun is infected or not. Now we return to the survivors who have set the trap. Pooh is hiding near the cabins. When he sees that, according to routine, Auntie Jit is coming from that direction, he immediately hides and signals to the others. Then everyone gathers for the final action. Meanwhile, we see Ning and Jean coming down from the lab. But when they see zombies coming down from above, they run back. Auntie Jit is climbing the staircase, while the survivors wait with their traps ready to capture her alive so they can restrain her and study her behavior to understand the pattern of other zombies as well. Also, if their leader is held captive, the entire clan might become directionless. But unfortunately, nothing goes according to plan. Ning and Jean suddenly come face to face with Auntie Jit. Auntie sees flashbacks of her last meeting with Ning, so she freezes and starts walking slowly toward Ning. Ning also moves toward her, thinking that maybe Auntie remembers her, since their last meeting was also on these stairs. Mook and Nan hear Ning's voice. Seeing Auntie approach Ning, everyone gathers to help her, but Thorn opposes this, saying that everyone could be in danger because zombies follow their parent zombie, Auntie Jit. Now Nan continues the plan and comes out with a stick to save his sister. He starts banging the stick, making loud noises, successfully drawing Auntie's attention toward himself. Ning runs to save her brother, although Nan keeps saying that everything is under control, but she doesn't stop. So Mook, Prow, and the others hold Ning back, while the survivors manage to knock Auntie Jit down, cover her face with a black cloth, and drag her inside. All of this is beyond Ning's understanding. She doesn't know what they're trying to do. Everyone tried to restrain Auntie, but she kept fighting back in self-defense. Finally, Jean shot Auntie in the head. The survivors were angry that everything went wrong, and they all jumped on Jean. Everyone realized that it was already too late, because many zombies had reached the offices, classrooms, and the lab. That means death was now standing right over the survivors' heads. So, what do you think, guys? What will be the fate of these poor people? To find out, you must watch the full video. But for now, we go to Professor Viroj's house, where you might remember he was about to commit suicide when someone knocked at his door. Now we see Viroj's house completely empty. Neither Viroj is there, nor Kanjana. The door is left open. Where did they both go? Well, here they are, inside a van, where some secret team has captured them and is taking them away. But who are they and where are they taking them? For now, we don't know. On the other side, the survivors explain their plan to Ning, that they captured Auntie Jit so she could help them with their rescue. But Ning gets angry at Pooh for putting Nan in danger. Mook argues back, but Thorn says this is not the time to fight. They should think about how to survive the zombies. Suddenly, San notices the serum in Ning's pocket and asks about it. Before Ning can say anything, Prow takes the serum out of her pocket and reveals that this belongs to Chaiwut Kiat Pipet. San immediately reacts and says this is Joe's serum. It means Patron ordered Viroj and Ning to create it. Ning is shocked and confused as to how San knows that. Here we are shown a flashback where Joe is at a bar with San and the rest of his friends. Joe tells them that his father, Patron, doesn't trust him, so he is obsessed with creating the Anisong serum, and this project is a family secret. But Joe ended up telling his friends about it, and then forced them all to accompany him to the lab, which led to everything that was not supposed to happen. Back in the present, Ning yells at San, asking how he could have been in the lab that night, and how he could allow this, because her mother is in this condition because of him. Ning is referring to the murder of Dr. Alm, meaning she believes San was involved too. San replies, "Yes, speak louder so your brother can hear everything too." Nan becomes curious, so Ning tells everyone that Joe and her mother had the same disease. And yes, Patron gave Viroj and her the responsibility to develop the cure. The question rises, this serum that is in front of them, is this what turned everyone into zombies? Ning clarifies that this serum is fully prepared, but the version that was injected into the volunteers was infected. Mook angrily insults Ning and her family. Then San continues explaining. Joe had hacked the cameras of his father's lab and forced all of them to go there with him, and then everything happened that shouldn't have. After that incident, Joe's friends were forced to keep their mouths shut. This guilt has been eating San from the inside till today, and the only witness to his emotional state is Nan. Now the survivors must think about what to do next to get out of all this. Outside, we see Earth carefully moving forward with his weapon when suddenly Gus appears, still with the axe stabbed in his head. Earth apologizes to him, but Gus is now a zombie and immediately attacks him. Earth fights back, and just then, Knight and his group arrive and spray ricin on Gus, causing him to collapse instantly. Game cries a lot for his brother. Knight asks Earth about the other science students, the ones from Ning's group. Now we see Jean telling everyone the information written in the diary. Meanwhile, we see Kanjana in a hospital bed, while Viroj and Patron are standing outside the room. That means Patron had them both captured and brought here. The doctor tells them that Kanjana is now recovering, which means Viroj has succeeded. But Viroj still feels guilty because the serum he tested caused the infections, so he insists that the survivors must be saved because Joe's serum is also in that lab. Viroj looks extremely frustrated. Patron agrees with Viroj and sends him in a rescue team helicopter, but only to bring Ning and Nan, no one else. On the other hand, the survivors are discussing their next move when suddenly there is a loud bang at the door. We see zombies trying to break in. Everyone decides that now only one option is left. They must find the zombie that was directly infected by Auntie Jit, because maybe that zombie would become the new leader. But this task is difficult and time-consuming, so Ning thinks of injecting herself with Auntie Jit's blood, because there were no other options left. The hope was that whoever received Auntie Jit's blood would become important to the zombie pack. Ning gives the pen drive to Nan and is about to inject herself with the infected blood, but Jean stops her. Jean points a gun at Nott and says that if proving loyalty and attachment means one of them has to become a zombie, then all of them might as well die together. Just then, a zombie bursts into the room and chaos erupts. The sound of gunfire attracts zombies from all across the college. Wherever the survivors run, they see hordes of zombies approaching. But eventually they manage to reach the rooftop. The zombies are seen crying after witnessing their parent, Auntie Jit, dead. When the helicopter starts approaching the rooftop, San and the other boys try to shut the rooftop door while countless zombies push from outside, trying to break in. The survivors see a helicopter coming toward them. Inside are Dr. Wiroj and two armed guards. The moment Wiroj sees Ning, he orders the pilot to land on the rooftop. Ning climbs into the helicopter, but the others are not allowed to enter. Wiroj asks Nan to come along, but he refuses. Right then, Mook injects anti-Jit's infected blood into Nan. It becomes clear that Wiroj would only help when someone he cared about was in danger. Turning Nan into a zombie was their final strategy. But this was a heartbreaking moment for Ning. She watches her own brother get injected, and even though she wants to save him, she can't do anything. In a way, this was also Nan's own choice. Ning cries intensely for Nan, but nothing can be done now, and the helicopter flies away. Nan was tired of living in his sister's shadow. For the first time, he made his own decision, and his deep attachment to San is what made him sacrifice himself. Now, Knight's group reaches the rooftop as well, and everyone surrounds Nan. Then the story jumps 1 month later. Dr. Patron is informed that Kanjana has fully recovered, but at the same time, another piece of news arrives: Professor Viroj and Ning have disappeared. Perhaps they went to find the remaining survivors? What do you think, viewers? Now we see that Nan has fully turned into a zombie, and the survivors have kept him restrained for safety. At the hospital, Kanjana opens her eyes, and one of them is glowing blue, as if she has gained some supernatural power. Meanwhile, zombies are seen stay near Nan, as if he has now become their leader. But the big question remains, where are the rest of the survivors? Because they are not shown in the ending. And will Ning and Dr. Viroj manage to find a cure? In Season 1, Episode 1, the students' struggle for survival begins when they lose communication and essential supplies like electricity and water. In Episode 2, we see Ning's mother as a savior, sacrificing her life after a tragic incident caused during the Anisong serum experiment. In Episode 3, Ning is shown working on the Anisong project in the past to cure her mother's illness. She discovers that jellyfish are an immortal marine species. Meanwhile, in the present, the students are still running from the massive horde of zombies chasing them. In Episode 4, the survivors are determined to find the leader of the zombies because the horde keeps moving from place to place as if following someone's instructions. In Episode 5, we learn the entire story of the Anisong project from start to finish, and it is revealed that Ning's mother and the professor shared a strong emotional connection. In Episode 6, it is proven that the Anisong serum caused the zombie outbreak in the university. A complete misfortune, not something planned. In Episode 7, the survivors finally come up with a solid strategy to stop the zombie apocalypse, and in the end, they succeed, bringing the series to a close. The ending of Zomvivor finishes with a sudden twist, strongly hinting that Season 2 will definitely come. Watch the entire series Zomvivor 2025 only on our channel Movies Hunter, and also share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.